G'day guys and welcome to the Centre Bounce, where today we will be going through 3 intra-clubs that were done. It is North Melbourne, the Collingwood Footy Club, as well as the Hawthorn Football Club, which has a lot of news coming out of that one. Stay tuned. Big J, we're starting off with your boys, North Melbourne. They put on an exhibition for us. Well, some players did at least. And we got to see a really impressive showing from some players in certain roles.
Yeah, definitely. One thing to kind of flag before going through which players impressed and which ones didn't do so great was a lot of North Melbourne players missed out. Like the back line was a bit of a shambles. No Logue, no Aiden Core, a few other players as well. No Luke McDonald, who for some reason kept doing the commentary and saying, if I wasn't injured, I could have played today. So there is a little bit of fluidity for that. But as you say, Joe, there's a lot of players who did very well. And I'm just happy footy's back. We can watch some games on TV again.
Yes, hopefully next time I'm watching football, it's not whilst I'm trying to sneak in during work. But regardless, it is what it is. Well, we won't delay any further for our wonderful people. Right off the bat, it's a guy who everyone definitely has their eye on because he is absolutely a very relevant Supercoach player. He is a primo. Make no mistake, it's Harry Sheezel.
Yeah. Looked fantastic. If you go and watch it, it is 3 hours, so there's a lot to cut through. North Melbourne did play 4 times 24-minute rounds. So some other clubs, I think Collingwood did 3 rounds of 30 minutes. I'm not sure exactly what Hawks did because it wasn't televised. But, yeah, North Melbourne played four rounds of 25 minutes. Harry Sheezel, mate, this kid's kicks around the ground, Joe. There was like 8 players in the middle, and then he found a blue player along the way because he was obviously in blue team. That was hey, we're going to have you in the AFL games team. Some clubs did a little bit more even. I think North Melbourne tried to do that as well, but fantastic player. After the game, though, the coach basically said, the defensive coach said, hey, Harry Sheezel and McKercher halfback. So don't need to worry about him. Zach Fisher didn't play, but with his hammy problems, I doubt he's going to play straight away, and he's going to have to find a space for himself in the team because Harry Sheezel's a beast. Even if he doesn't play 100% halfback, he's going to be around where the ball is. And if that means some more mid-time, then great for us in Supercoach anyway. I think he's pretty fair value at the moment.
Yeah, and Kingy himself was asked on Twitter as well, having gone and had a look, and was asked, do you think if Fisher comes back, does that push Sheezel out of half-back? And he just responded with a simple no. He can't see Sheezel being moved out of that half-back position, which really means that for his price, as you say, he presents great value and one that everyone, we'll be talking about it in the Hawthorn segment, but there was a potential easy little sideways there to free up a little bit of cash. We then move to another defender in the back line, Callan Dawson. Now, I know you actually raised this guy as having quite a decent preseason in the North Melbourne preview video that you did over on DR's channel. Massive shout out to the legend that is DR. If you haven't subscribed to him, head on over to his channel. Big J, did you like what you saw from Callan Dawson?
He played very, very well. And it was interesting because I think there's 3 players who are almost vying for the same role. And Callan Dawson definitely seems to have taken that in his stride and doing well. He did play last year, round 24, so there is something there. But, yeah, a really good player. Was taking kickouts for North Melbourne at certain times throughout the game, sometimes in the blue jersey when he was there, and then over in the yellow jersey as well, where he teamed up with Biggie Newen and Toby Pink as well. So really good player. Looks to have locked down at the moment the third intercept type player. So you've got 2 key defenders and then someone roaming. Looks like Callan Dawson's kind of taking that roaming role. It's going to be interesting to see when Core comes back, when we play the Pies and the Saints, what's going to happen with the backline mix-up. But Callan Dawson, kick-outs for 183K, Joe, could be a lock.
And when is LMAC coming back?
Well, apparently he's fit, so I don't think they're playing the same type of role, though. LMAC normally plays kind of a halfback defender type position. He's not going to play third tall interceptor.
Very cool. So there you go. Keep an eye on Callan Dawson. Also, you mentioned in there he moved to the yellow team to play alongside this young man, Toby Pink, who ain't so young, coming from the VFL. One of the best performers at state league level that you guys picked up. Obviously, you identify that you guys really were lacking in key position defense with the loss of Big Ben Mackay. So Toby Bing comes in, and I actually thought he handled himself pretty well. A lot of supply was coming his way. He was a bit under the pump every now and then, and he seemed not to mind getting involved in the play. So he wouldn't just do his defensive work. It also seemed to be pretty happy to be involved going the other way offensively. So I thought that was a pretty decent showing. Didn't obviously dominate by any stretch, but it's very hard to when you're on a losing team.
Yeah, definitely. And I think when he was on the blue team, we were winning quite hard as well. So, yeah. I think the first half of his game was a lot better than the second half. But, new player, learning the system, that kind of thing. And a lot of the time with the defense, if you are in that transition mode, allowing the other players on your team to kind of be like, hey, look, you can actually pass the ball to me as part of the transition instead of being like, cool, let's just bypass all the defenders. So with time, I think that will help a little bit. Watch for round one, but no way cemented in the team at the moment.
There you go. No way cemented. Keep an eye. Will Dawson. Now, it always ticks me off when Will is with only one L.
One L.
Like, is that a mistake? Is that
no? That's his name.
Oh,
that's his name. Yep. His mum they couldn't afford another one. I don't know why. This kid is looking. He won't be round one, but he's definitely looking like he's going to play sometime during the year. Fantastic player, great overhead. I can't say more, but very, very good player. I'm glad we picked him up this year in the draft. All
right, a downgrade rookie into the future. What we want to see. This guy, you ain't going to be downgrading to him anytime soon. This guy, you either start him or you miss him, I think.
Pretty much. You look like tell me what you kind of picked up with LDU in this game, because I can just talk North Melbourne all day. What did you see as an outsider, Joe?
It really didn't look like he was trying very hard, to be honest. To be fair, he is a very natural footballer, so he just takes the game in his stride, and it was effortless, really, at times, the way he would just get the ball out of the middle, kick the ball inside 50. I do think that his disposal can be cleaner. I think a few of those kicks inside 50 were pretty loopy, but the way he was just bursting away from stoppage, winning contested ball, bursting away, going up forward, casually snapping a goal here. Like, it was quite impressive. Now, obviously, I was watching this game whilst at work, so couldn't watch in great detail, and I didn't have any amazing commentary raving about how good he was, but I didn't need it because I could just see in the quiet silence of my room just how easily he was taking it in his stride. I'm very confident that this guy, if he can stay fit and play all of the games, he really could be a top 8 midfielder this year. So I'm definitely starting him, and nothing that I saw today pulled me away.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the big things, as you said, his midfield work is exceptional. Just kind of his power and the don't argues and whatnot. But he's been working on the forward line craft as well. And I think he kicked 2 or 3 over the pass of that intraclub game. So running through the middle, I'm pretty sure he kicked 1. And then a couple when he was resting in the forward line as well. So he's set for a big year.
Yeah, absolutely. Another one who could be set for a big year, Georgie Wardlaw. This guy, highly rated, another contested ball. You get excited. It's hard not to when you see him crash and bash the way that he does. He has no regard for human life. I wish he had a bit more regard for his own, because that way we can perhaps see a bit more of him on the field. It's a shame when you see this guy injured. If he can be fit, this guy could push a 90 average this year.
Yeah, he's my pick for the rising star. At the moment, I think he's about $35 to win. If he's fit for the whole year, it's going to happen. George Wardlaw is fantastic, contested beast. But for me, it's not even that. It's the second and third actions as well that he does. So he'll have times when he'll handball it off or get rid of it and then go for a tackle and then chase someone down and do things like this, or kick a goal after don't argue, run through contested. It's just exceptional. Watch his highlights from the game. You'll know how good this kid is. If he stays fit, as you say, Joe, he could be 500K. He could be a keeper next year. Just how good he is at the moment. So Yeah, I'm very happy, very excited. Just hope he can last the whole year out. But it is only the intra-club game. So versus actual opponents next week, it's going to see what he does. Going to be good to see what he does against the Pies.
I think we'll see a lot of the same
Mhm.
because of his talent. The only thing about Wardlaw was his low time on ground. He really didn't have as much time on ground. So hopefully we can see a bit more of that against Collingwood. McKercher, I think everyone sort of knew what they were going to get from this kid with how
Yep.
much preseason report writing has been. And I think it just has been confirmed that the role that he's going to have is going to be playing off that halfback. He's well and truly owned it. And then after the game as well, an assistant coach also said that that is the role that he's going to have. So if he's not in everybody's team, then you're not playing it right. It's either start or delete, really.
Yeah, pretty much. If he's not close to 100%, like you've auto-filled your team and just given up already because McKerch is fantastic at the price. If he's not playing halfback, he's running the ball straight through the middle and distributing it. This kid's pinpoint kicks during that game, Joe. Like this much. He put the ball through this much. Like that's how good it was.
It was perfect. Centimeter perfect, dare I say. Zane Dersma. You guys picked him up very early. He's a very talented young man. Did you like what you see? Do you reckon he's going to be Supercoach relevant?
I'm not sure about Supercoach relevant in the sense that Nick Watson's probably not Supercoach relevant, but in terms of actually playing in terms of playing, he could almost line up for every game this year. Just kind of the positioning that he's got, really smooth kick, and his aerial, I think, is going to catch a lot of people off guard. Like this guy can almost jump as high as some ruckman. It's crazy to watch, but yeah, bloody fantastic if you're a North Melbourne fan.
Yep.
He's playing full zone. He's not going to play through the middle.
Correct. I had this guy very early on. As soon as team picker happened, I believed in the guy. And honestly, he looked like prime Max Gorn. The way he just dominated against Finbar, he looked like a freak of nature, unstoppable train, silver service to LDU and Wardlaw and McKercher and Shazer and all these players. Lazaro, even we're going to talk about in a second, but he was up against a substantially weaker opponent in Finbar. Definitely don't jump on the train just because you saw that game. You got to have a look against genuine opposition.
Yeah, and that's what you say, right? If you're versing a potato, if you got like those times in soccer when you see them and everyone can do the Beckham kick, kicking over the guys defending the goal, that kind of thing. But in actual match play, big watch and see for him. He did move around a little bit in the ground, which I was quite happy with, but still some of his disposal efficiency wasn't great. I think if he doesn't have to mark the ball and can kind of handball it around, sure, it's not too bad, but he's still a very awkward player.
What about Charlie Comben? Is he an awkward player?
You could see what he was trying to do at the club. I think it's going to be a little bit different when he doesn't have to compete against like 6 other players on the same team. But yeah, you could definitely see what he was trying to do. There were times when he did get a couple of intercepts and things like that, but maybe not as dominant as like a Cal Dawson or a Biggie Ewan or even Toby Pink in the back line. So when he versus like different opponents, it might change, but I mean, he's only played 9 AFL games and none in defense. So you got to take everything with a grain of salt at the moment.
Yeah. Charlie Lazaro, sort of mentioned him in passing before, a midfielder who a lot of people are keeping an eye on as well. He definitely had a great game to end the season last year, scoring over 80 points, which if he could give that on a much more consistent basis for us at 181K, would certainly be making us some good cash as well as being fieldable, especially so because our forward lines are so weak this year. He definitely got some mid opportunity. He had about 29% CBAs in the game. Did he do enough for you to get into the side?
He did exactly what we need him to do, which is show up at the intra-club game, because then he'll get a chance in the next 2 preseason games. If he came in and was just average like a couple of these other guys on the list and, played his part, but whatever, didn't get involved, he would have dropped off really hard in eyes of the coaches and, isn't forcing himself to be selected. Lazaro did so much, especially in the first half. I could really see it, being that link-up player, being the guy in the midfield that would maybe not burst through the packs, but definitely run around and do really well. He is capable of like high 20 possession plus games. mate. It was really good to see and really good for us in Supercoach because it could offer another midfielder who's available in the forward line and cheap. So big watch and see for the next 2 games, but his game his game yesterday was perfect.
Yeah, exactly. And Cooper Harvey as well. I thought he had a very decent showing. Don't think he's going to be very Supercoach relevant based on his role, but I think he definitely played a good role for you. And, played his position really well and harassed and tackled really well. So I think you'd be very happy with how he's coming on as a player.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's one of the reasons why we didn't pick up Nick Watson in the draft, because we've got a couple of guys who are vying for that small forward type role. Obviously, his dad played it at North Melbourne. He's trying to play it the same thing as well. So big watch and see over the preseason. We've got him on the list just because I think he's going to play if he's good enough. So watch and see for the next little while. But there's a lot of players fighting for this, especially at 150K.
Yeah, exactly. Braden George, he is a 123K, so he's a cheap one. No elevated price tag with Braden George, but he's definitely worth it considering the type of talent that he is. And he was playing off halfback as well during the game at the intraclub, and definitely was pretty eye-catching, I think. So everyone's already known, I suppose, that this guy's a good player. He did play for the yellow team, which was the B team. So obviously it's going to be pretty hard to break into the senior side when you've got your Sheezels and your McCurches,
how are you going to keep
for
those
example.
Yeah.
But he's definitely waiting on an injury to get a call up.
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm not sure if it's so much an injury versus, hey, if there's a really good spot and someone kind of is out of form as a halfback or middle-sized defender, he'll definitely come in and play that role. But I'm just happy to see him out and about, like come off an ACL, come off doing his ankle and his elbow as well, and it's just great to watch. And this kid's got potential, Joe. I tell you what.
We know it, man. We know he was a steal last year in the draft.
Yeah.
We then moved to Tom Powell. There's a few people out there who were keeping an eye on this guy. And he did get some midfield opportunity for the blue team, for the A team. Now, he did swap with Phillips at halftime, but, did what he have to show you warrant this $312,000 price tag?
I think in the preseason training, there was a few kind of hit outs and things like that. Cal did a lot better at like a high half forward type position. But in the midfield, in the guts, like if you're versing LDU at points, if you're versing Wardlaw at points, and just kind of in general, if those two even are on your team, you're not going to get a lot of the ball, right? Because they're going to get LDU and then Wardlaw, and it's just going to be disappearing. So I think that hurt Powell quite a bit. At the moment, I would say don't pick him in your Supercoach teams. And I know a few people have. So bit of a watch and see, a bit of a warning. But I would hate to think that if this guy doesn't get handed the ball, he's not going to be very good.
Fair enough. And the last player on the list here from that North Melbourne Intraclub was Bigoa Nguyen, who he looked pretty good at times, man. Honestly, like I thought he decent player, very decent.
All I can say is thanks, Richmond, because he didn't cost much to get him across, and he could basically play all year. If Dawson doesn't work, Nguyen, I think, is definitely there, or at least good key defender like backup if Comben and some other players don't work out. So athletic, can jump, can run, footy knowers. Like, we're probably going to get a steal with this kid if he can stay fit for the whole year.
Yeah, and that's really what you're hoping to get. You're looking for upside in a lot of these players, and he's got the athleticism to do it, as you say. So, obviously he can fill out a little bit, can certainly fill out, has room to grow in that department, but there's definitely some optimism. I think you guys are going to have your hands full, and you'll have a lot of supply, I think, in the back line. So those were the starring players that we thought came out of the intra-club for North Melbourne. And then we are going to talk about the Hawks and about Collingwood as well. And now we move over to the Hawthorn Football Club with their intra-club, where it was very controversial, a lot of carnage coming out of that, and a lot of it would be affecting our big man, sick dog, James Sicily, because Blank has gone down with an ACL. Our thoughts and prayers are with him in this very difficult time. And I can imagine that Sicily's ownership is well and truly going to decrease as a result.
Yeah, unless they can come in and get someone to cover the key position role. Every time Sicily's had to do it, his scoring just hasn't been great. So if they don't have anyone else, Sicily goes key defender. That's it for us in Supercoach. You can definitely be able to pick him up cheaper throughout the year.
Yeah, 100%. So he's definitely an upgrade target for many people. Weddle, though, is a mid-pricer that has him and this other guy in the midfield who doesn't have defensive status at the moment, was used off half back, and there was a lot of preseason talk about this kid.
Yeah, I think he did a little bit of halfback from memory last year, and that's how his Supercoach scoring was decent as well. So if he's continuing off with that, obviously continues the trend as well of halfbacks being the really good distributor, having a good ball sense and things like that. Josh Weddle, man, I don't think he's relevant in Supercoach, but for Hawks fans, mate, they'd be happy.
For sure. And I know a lot of them are very happy with this next guy, Massimo D'Ambrosio, an amazing last name. How can you not love? Even his first name is very cool. Come on. So he's playing on a wing. They love what they saw with his ball use. And I think he's very likely to play because CJ also went down with a hamstring off the bench. So I think that really opens up a spot for Massimo to play on the wing. And I think he's taken that opportunity with both hands.
Yeah, I think so. And last year we saw a few of these guys around that 240 mark, Liam Jones, Buckley, all these ones doing quite well. If Massimo gets a lot of ball delivery, you can run for days and could be an option for some people if, let's say, Zach Williams doesn't get named round one.
Correct. We then make a move to the midfield. It is, of course, you can't talk Hawthorn without talking about the Duke Nukem, who is an absolute beast. Again, we've seen the pictures. He is jacked, he is ripped, and he is a lot of responsibility going to be on this guy's shoulders without, of course, Will Day, who is going to be missing the start of the season.
Yeah, definitely. It's he's not in my team. I can understand why some people have picked him, but I think he's more relevant in the actual game than he will be for Supercoach. Wait and see for the next couple of games.
Yeah. This guy's going to be very relevant, isn't he?
Oh, mate, if he's playing halfback like the reports are saying, we're set. The big thing with him was always, hey, does he get relegated back to the wing spot? But if guys like Massimo are coming in and actually playing that role, I'll aim on off the halfback. We might be able to go a bit cheaper in the midfield, Joe, and get a few keepers at sub 500K.
Exactly. In the back line with some defensive DPP. Really exciting stuff. This guy won't get defensive DPP, Connor Nash. He seems to be well and truly entrenched there. I know Sammy Mitchell loves him, and the sort of role that he plays in the midfield guts, he's going to continue to play that. I don't think anything has suggested otherwise. Even though Award has come in, I still think Nash is well and truly ahead of him in the midfield mix.
Yeah, there's a few players that are going to rotate through there. I think Nash as well. Big watch for Amon as well, just over the next couple of games. Obviously, it is the intra-club, but we've got 2 games to kind of say, hey, where are they actually playing?
Yep,
Wait, Joe. We know this guy's good. What did we see from him?
We saw that this guy is very classy. And there was a point in time, even before this preseason game, where I thought, you know what? I might chuck this guy in there because he is so good. And I remember you and I, when we were having our live stream watch along of the draft, we could not believe how low he got, just how late it took until this guy was picked up by the Hawks. And we were so pissed off. Like, how could this happen? They've got so much great young talent, and they add this guy as well. And nothing has suggested otherwise. I honestly reckon this guy is going to feature in round 1. And he's done himself absolutely no damage whatsoever, especially with all the cards going around him there in the midfield. And I wouldn't be surprised if there might be some times where this guy plays a little bit of halfback. I think Sam Mitchell is very capable of throwing up the magnets around, but I think this guy is mostly going to be used in the midfield and a bit forward of center in a half forward role. And he looks really good. Not for me at the moment. I think there are other important players, but he did look really good. I think he'll feature early.
Yeah, you're probably not picking him over Sanders and McKercher at the moment. So
nah, definitely not.
Watch and see unless he basically turns into the next best midfielder.
Yeah, exactly.
Marbia Chol apparently did very well in the intra-club game as well. Was rucking, so their second ruck, and definitely had a few shots at goal. I think he missed a couple, but then did kick a couple as well. So if that's the type of role that he's playing, at 273K, he could be one of those guys that has a really good week, jump on him and you'd be doing very well. One to definitely watch over the preseason, but if he can kick out, someone from being that second ruck position and really take that on, he's good to go, Joe.
Key forward for me, though. Don't like
That's
key
true.
forwards. This guy is not playing key forward, Cam McKenzie, getting a lot of raving reviews from a bunch of Hawthorn supporters as well as from that game. I can understand why. He was everywhere, apparently, in this game, getting a lot more midfield minutes as well, starting off half forward and then making his way into the midfield. Think Sam Flanders-esque in terms of starting at a half forward and then participating in the midfield. So Cam McKenzie, really exciting for that price point. I'm actually really contemplating starting him. I think this guy's probably more likely to play and make you more money and play more games for you than someone like a Nat Fife, for example, who I'm well and truly not on board with. I think I prefer Cam McKenzie.
Joe, those are fighting words, man. We've got 2 more games to square up and see which one's better. But I know a lot of people Joe, what are you talking about, mate?
Mate, I'm sure the Hawthorn supporters out there will love me. I know it's very weird for Hawthorn fans to love an Essendon person, but I'm sure with those words, I reckon they'll definitely be on board. And I mean, no one needs to really talk about how good of a player this young man is.
No, definitely not. We know why the Hawks picked up Nick Watson, because they're desperate for a really good small forward, and that's what Nick Watson does. He'll get a lot of quick goals, but I don't think he's going to be the one that gets enough ball to kind of worthy a good Supercoach score. So 27% of people have him in their team at the moment. I think that number's going to drop. He's going to score some points, but 189K, there's better options.
Yeah, he is definitely a much better real-life player than a Supercoach player, and he is going to link up very well with Jack Ginnivan, who both of these guys in tandem are going to be getting under every single opposition player's skins, and they're going to want to rip them to shreds, which obviously means more free kicks, which obviously means more goals. So these guys together as a duo are going to be quite formidable. They knew exactly what they were doing, the Hawks. Neither of these picks are particularly going to be very Supercoach relevant, but we have to give them a shout out in recognition for their efforts so far this preseason.
All right, guys. That's our Hawthorn review of the intra-club game. Stay tuned for the Collingwood.
And now we make our way to the Dirty Pies. We left the best till last because they are the premiers. So they're the best, unfortunately. And I'm going to talk about them in this very sad monotone voice because I hate Collingwood and I don't like Isaac Quaynor very much either. He did very well. He played everywhere. Very impressive. Leadership group. But it's 417K. You're not in my side.
Yeah, Quaynor definitely looked like he almost had that Jaden Short role. Joe can be monotone, guys. I'm all for it. I flagged him in my Collingwood preseason team review video as maybe someone who's not Supercoach relevant, but looks like he's going to be playing a lot up the ground. This guy could be sneaky premium status, Joe, by the end of the season.
Wow, that's a big call. That is a very big call. I'm not going to say monotone.
His inside 50 kicks were very good and was pushing really hard up the ground as well. So it's like, hey.
He's got the skills. He's got the skills to pay the bills, Isaac Quaynor, IQ. He's got the answers. And then we moved to Charlie Dean. He was someone that a lot of us were hoping would debut. A lot of us had him as a potential rookie last season, but couldn't get onto the park because of foot complaints. He was even entrusted with some kick-ins today. So really could see finally a debut on the cusp for Charlie Dean. And, for a cheap rookie, then that could certainly work out. Another one to add to the list.
Yeah, watch over the next couple of games to see what does happen with him. But, 18, if he comes in and starts doing kick-ins, mate, could force himself into your side versus like a Caulfield or some other players. Just sucks that Collingwood have the early bye.
Yep, correct. Then move to the midfield. It is Jordan De Goey. I'm not sure how many people are going to have the cojones to go with a Jordan De Goey, but he was just dominant, I think, in the midfield in that game. No one could lay a glove on him. Very strong, powerful, bursting out of stoppages and nailing goals from 55, 60 meters out for fun. So look, if you're sneaky betting man, then I think this guy's a sneaky primo selection, perhaps more than Quaynor.
Mate, I know Jen, who always jumps on our live streams, always asks about, hey, how's my DeGoey going? Well, we know that he did really well. So, yeah, I think one of the issues with Collingwood is their best 22 midfield's really good, but the other side maybe not as much. And DeGoey just dominates until he actually versus real opposition.
Them some fighting words there. This guy was also fighting in the preseason in the practice game as well.
Oh, he came in with a horrible haircut, and then his team did shocking as well. I think they got beat by 60-odd points. You could visibly see in this game Nick Dacos just getting cranky that every time he'd try and set up a goal, the other team would just defend it, and he was just getting beaten in the midfield. Obviously, it was like Ballarat versus Bendigo, two teams playing each other, so when he actually plays with other good defenders or other good midfielders, watch out. But preseason game, he was good, but not as dominant versus like other teams in the AFL.
Does that sort of turn you off a little bit from paying $650,000 for him, or do you not really look into just the performance on the day, more so the role?
I think more so the role. Wait till he plays North Melbourne and whoever else they play in the second game to kind of gauge that a little bit, but he hasn't gone backwards, is what I'm saying.
That's good. No backwards is very good. Kruger didn't take a backward step either this game. In fact, he's really trying to push hard to take that Dan McStay position in the side.
Yeah.
He is fighting for it with Ash Johnson, who we've also got here at the moment. They're both trying to cement their claims, as well as even Reef McInnes as well. Everyone's trying to kick goals at this Collingwood forward line to try and cement their spots in the team. That's the benefit of having a premiership caliber side. You've just got incredible competition for spots all the time.
Yeah, Kruger, some of his goals and some of his marks were just really impressive. I think every year we kind of see what this kid can do. But from all reports in the preseason, he just came in fit and firing this year. Off the Christmas break, maybe didn't eat as much, lamb or turkey or whatever he had, and then looks super fit too. So as you say, maybe doesn't push a Cox or someone out, but as kind of that guy who can go forward and then ruck, I'd pick him. I mean, he's like 8 or 10% owned in Supercoach at the moment because of it.
And he could be a playing R3 for us.
Which exactly. Like one of the few we have.
Yeah, worth its weight in absolute gold. Ash Johnson, as I sort of alluded to, doing really well, but $277,900 key forward that has had consistency issues. Definitely not very high on my Supercoach radar, and as I don't think he is for many others, but someone who is on the radar of many people, especially after that game, this man.
Joe, this kid, I swear, it was like his brother from a couple of years ago running through. I think they swapped players. Like they look similar. So one went to the Dogs and had all these injuries, and the other one's nicked off the Collingwood. I'm here, boys. Let's play. Watch the preseason. Watch the game. Finn McRae was getting contested ball, running up and down the ground. He was pushing players like Nick Dacos out the way, being like, hey, I'm here. This is my year. That's $150K for what he can do, at least in this game. He cemented his spot. We've talked about Powell and a few other people doing a similar thing in the other team previews, but Finn McRae has come in and cemented his spot in the next two preseason games. If he didn't do so well, whatever, he might not get picked. He's going to play majority midfield in those two games off his performance today.
Oh, and if he doesn't get named to play in round 0, which a lot of Collingwood supporters genuinely believe that he's a lock for round 0, then he's never going to make it, essentially. So at Collingwood, he'll definitely find opportunities elsewhere if they're not going to play him. But this year seems to be the year Finn McRae's got a chip on his shoulder. Everyone sort of spoke about him last year as potentially being the one to break into the side, but we didn't see it happen. Looks like this finally is the year where we see Finn McRae burst onto the scene. Reef McInnes sort of spoke about him. He's also kicked some goals. He kicked 4 goals, I think, in the last intraclub, the last practice game before this one as well. So he is also fighting for a key position player, 123K. Keep a close eye on him, as well as on this man, who's had a role change. He's in the forward line here, but he wasn't playing forward, was he?
No, I flagged it in my Collingwood team preview video of who could be relevant in Supercoach. McCreary looked decent enough in that midfield. I think similar to McRae, came in, earned himself a spot in the next 2 preseason games and potentially round 0 as well. I think they're moving to a little bit more of a power midfield and guys who can run. McCreary can do both of those and tackle. So definitely a potential role change on the cards. At 300K though, 50-50 for me. But for Collingwood fans, mate, they're laughing. Their team's got even better. You've heard the reports. Congratulations to the 3 players as well that got picked up in the SSP. Got Air, got Sullivan, and then got Bytel as well. And they might end up being super cheap rookies if they continue to perform during the preseason. You're laughing.
Absolutely, guys. So make sure you drop us a like if you've liked what you've seen from us here today. A subscription if you're new will greatly help the growth of our channel because we're trying to do all this work here, trying to get these insider information, all of these tweets that we're reading and all of these forums so that we can bring it to you guys and make sure that you hit that notification bell to make sure you don't miss out on any of the videos that we're continuously pushing out for you.
Yeah. Stay tuned for all the other training reports as well. As they come in, we'll put out some more videos.
Because here we've also got a group that you can join for us. It is an open league. A video has been made where we have all of the details and what you need to do to join in. Some incredible prizes in there. A jersey if you win, a couple of general admission tickets if you have the highest individual score for the year, as well as a consolation lottery prize of a $20 AFL store voucher. So head on over to that video on our channel description. We'll have the link to it, and make sure you come and join us as we all have some fun this year.
Remember, here at the Centre Bounce, we do the hard work.
So you don't have to. Bye for now.